Zoom. Hey, what do we got here? I came home from work. I had a mysterious package in the mail, and I looked it up, and it came from our friends at Go Game Geek. Thanks, Go Game Geek. They sent me the PowKiddy RGB10Max3. That's a mouthful. Box got some weird Transformer Bumblebee graphic things on it. There's 6 different colorways. I don't know what these are, but it looks like we got orange, cheddar. What do we get in the box? Well, our handheld, obviously. A little container. A cord, this is it. This is the manual. Short and sweet. Let's see, we got orange, I can tell. Good Lord, that's the same color as the box. It's cheddar. Out of the way. Doesn't come with any screen protector or anything, but that's okay. Just right out the box, this is going to be a quick first impressions, because I'm the first one on the team to get it. That D-pad's not bad, doesn't feel bad. It's, we'll see. I mean, PowKiddy's not known for super high quality assurance, but you never know. Maybe they really knocked it out of the park. These buttons, they're nice. They're nice height. Got a nice feel to them. Oh, good Lord. Start and select are on the front, but they are very loud. Basic switch style Joy-Con sticks. They click. Not too bad. We have our volume on top, and it is reversed. Plus goes on this side, guys. HDMI out on top. You got your reset. You got your power. You've got a USB-C 5-volt power right there. You got an OTG port right there. Your operating system SD card and your game SD card. Dual SD cards. And headphone jack on the bottom. I like that. Little grippies on the side. That means it'll be probably more ergonomic than just a, regular flat, similarly sized handheld. Let's see here. Shoulder buttons. Hey. The triggers are actually pretty quiet. How about the... Oh, no. Ugh. Those are louder than they need to be. And they're pretty small. After a minute, you're probably going to know where they're at and hit them, but they're a lot smaller than they probably need to be. And then these trigger buttons, they don't like wedge themselves back. They appear to be just either on or off. There's no analog. But yeah, these shoulder buttons are loud. They're not as loud as the... wait a minute. Got the X55 here. Get a real quiet comparison. So they're clicky, but they're not god-awful clicky. And these actual triggers, really quiet in comparison. Huh? Heck, speaking of comparisons, let's do some comparisons. So I feel like the most direct PowKiddy comparison would be the X55. This came out last year. I actually really like it, especially if you can get it for cheap. You can see how like the buttons are spread out on this, and it's more compact. I don't know. It just seems more compact on the RGB10Max3. It also has D-pad on top, which I like because you're not going to be playing a ton of PlayStation 2, if any, or GameCube on here. You're going to be mostly 32-bit and backwards, and you're going to need a good D-pad for most of those and an analog stick for some of it. But D-pad on top, I like that. This actually stands up really good on its own because it's flat on the bottom, like full flat. Oh, and by the way, there's 2 speakers. Looks like they're down-firing speakers. Yeah, that stands flat. This one kind of stands, but it's more wobbly. So the TrimUI Smart Pro, this is honestly basically the same exact size, same size screen. It's just smaller D-pad, little nubby sticks on this one. This one's obviously a lot thinner. Ergonomics-wise, these grips are probably going to make this a lot more comfortable to hold than this, but this is going for like 50 bucks now. And then just for fun, I have another similarly sized handheld with another 5-inch screen. This is the RP4 Pro. Now this is very similar. I have an issue with this because it's too flat and it needs grips. So these grips I think will be great, although a lot of people will say, no, I don't need grips because I want it to be pocketable, because you're going to carry around a 7-inch long handheld in your side pocket, which I don't do. I put it in a case. But if that's your use case, then yes, this wouldn't be as pocketable because of these grips, but still pretty pocketable because they don't extend beyond the bottom, that flat bottom. Can't make this stand. No, sir. I talked about how the TrimUI is half price and how the RP4 Pro is twice the price. So what is the price of this? So right now on PowKiddy's website, you can get this for about $100 with a 64 gigabyte card, which is what this one shipped with, and it's about $100. Their deal is over. I don't think it's going to come back, and so $100. However, on Go Game Geek, this is also, well, let's be fair. This is $110 with free shipping. You can use a code, which will be in the description, and there's just a generic code on their website anyway, for 10% off. So $110, 10% off, It's going to be the same price as the PowKiddy website. You get free shipping, and it'll probably get to you a lot faster because they can ship out of different areas other than just mainland China. So what are we going to do next? Let's turn her on. Green light over here. Oh, and we got JELOS. What build is that? The February 6th build. Now, JELOS is a pretty good operating system to have on here out of the box, except they kind of ended support for the 3566 line. So I don't know if we go to update this. We're going to update it at the end. I don't want to update it now and break it. But I don't know if you're going to be able to update this. They were supposed to let out one last version before they kind of just shut it down. So they might have a version you can update to, but otherwise, this is it. So you have individual brightness sliders, gamma sliders, contrast sliders, saturation, and hue. Ooh, how about that? So you have your normal tools, you got all games. Whoa, the 64 gig card ships with about 11,000 games. That's pretty cool. The 64 gig card comes with a ton of lower tier system games, but only 36 PlayStation, 14 PSP, and like 9 DS games. If you can save a little bit of money when you order it and not get a card, I would honestly tell you, just, get it without the card and then buy a 64 or 128 gigabyte card for super cheap, get a reputable brand, and put your own games on there. But if you do want it to be plug and play, they do ship with these cards, and most of the review units will come with a card. So that's what I base it off of. Oh heck, let's try some NES. What do we got? Okay, so the stick is mapped automatically for you. That's nice. It feels like I'm getting some false inputs. I don't want to use Contra because that's Russ's thing, but I don't know, it feels a little loose. Let's get these speakers going. They get pretty loud, and they are down-firing, which is good. Let's try some Game Boy Color. What do we got? Oh, no! Why is Game Boy Color stretched like that? We're at 16 by 9. Let's just manually... We got core provided. It's core provided. Core provided. We'll try that. I was going to try to manually set it to the ratio, but... Oh, yeah. Core provided. You lose a lot of real estate, but... I mean, if you want, set it to default. It'll be stretched all get out, but I'd rather have it the original aspect ratio. And you can fiddle with, integer scaling and all your different ratios and maybe get a little bigger, but this is really just a first impressions. Oh no, my right hand's covered with blood. I used to play the crap out of Deja Vu for the NES. It was one of those things where, like, you only had 5 games, and if you got one, you played the crap out of it because that was your game for the quarter or whatever. Tell you what, Game Boy Advance should probably look really good on here. Oh man, it comes with a dot matrix shader on it. That's pretty cool. What do I do now? It's a pretty good Game Boy Advance experience. I mean, it's beautiful. It's I wouldn't say it's beautiful, but it's beautiful. It is an LCD screen. I like this little dot matrix shader that's already pre-populated on there. And yeah, I could see playing a lot of Game Boy Advance on here. And it's comfortable. Just in the little bit I've been playing it, my hand just kind of naturally molds to it. These grips, they're not huge, but they do make a difference. Anyway, Game Boy Advance on here, pretty good. See how PlayStation runs. Don't have a ton of overhead, because if I fast forward, I'm only going at 75 FPS. 2, 1, go. Whoa. Ooh. Sticks feel pretty good. Out of my dang way. What are our options actually with this? Game settings, per system, PlayStation. What are we running with here? I wonder if the CRT shader is keeping it from having a ton of overhead. That's okay. You can change your aspect ratio if you want, but PlayStation should run pretty good on here. It should run pretty good on this chip. N64, I think some of the more heftier titles you might have issues with. Let's try Cruis'n USA. That usually is a struggler. We are full screen. Not crazy about that. Ugh. That's not great. That's not ideal. Ugh. See how we got N64 configured. 16 by 9. Let's take that down to core provided. Take this shader off. Good lord, there's a lot of shaders. Still a little bit of audio glitching. I mean, we gained 5 FPS. Oh, now we're down to 51. It feels more responsive though. Cruis'n USA is a pretty good benchmark because it's kind of a pain in the butt to emulate, but I bet if you really dove deep and changed emulators around and really mess with your settings, you could get it run maybe close to 100%, but right out of the box for a brand new person, N64 is going to be probably hit or miss. Heck, let's do some NDS here. Now this, you are using the full screen, which is good. So it looks like your single screen DS games, like this GBA port, will run pretty good on here. But you can always switch your screens around, you can switch your setup. So this is 16 by 9. You're using all your screen. I don't know how that's going to affect your FPS, but we're going to find out, I guess. This isn't like flawless, perfect emulation, but it's playing. Out of the way. Yeah. I mean, we know what this chipset can do. Dreamcast can be kind of a mixed bag, but you should be able to get playable performance out of most games. Try to keep this short. It's the first impressions here, so we want to just a little taster of everything we can do. Pressing the right thumbstick down gets you your settings. What do we got? OpenGL, just OpenGL on auto. Based on what I remember about this chipset, you might be able to get some 2x on like RPGs, but not a lot of these games are going to run at 2x, these action games, and be smooth. I really got to say, the ergonomics of this are good. I'm not having any hand fatigue. Good job with the ergonomics, PowKiddy. I'm sure we'll find a classic PowKiddy issue, especially since I didn't get a quality assurance inspection card in the container. It's not super smooth. I tell you what, oh god! Suboptimal FPS, but yeah, I guess that's to be expected. I think with some of these Linux systems, the PSP performance is held back because I personally feel like the Android the Android PSP emulator is a little bit more fine-tuned, and especially since there's no Vulkan support, I feel like that's going to hamper you a little bit with your PSP. But mixed bag. Wait a minute. I found an issue. Let me turn my lights off. Mine has some light bleed behind this corner, which it's not super noticeable. Can you picking that up? Try to see if I can kind of like push it down. Listen to this. And then that screen, all sorts of weird LED effects. So the left side of my screen, maybe could have used a little bit more adhesive. I don't know if it's going to fall off eventually, but I told you I'd find a PowKiddy weird defect. Please accept their shortcomings. Gary, turn the dang lights back on. Well, Gary, it's time for What Did We Learn? We learned that the PowKiddy RGB10Max3, whoa, is a $100-ish. Might get it cheaper on AliExpress at some point, but right now, $100-ish handheld from PowKiddy. It is a 3566 chip, and we know what that can do. That's been around for a while now. It's a pretty solid little unit. Got some real solid ergonomics. It's got an okay screen. It's got some decent buttons. I feel like PowKiddy has finessed the buttons a little bit. I did notice the D-pad is a little wiggly. Probably gonna get some false diagonals on there. I'm not hypersensitive to that, but I'm also not a big fighting games platformer purist, so it might be worse for you than it was for me. Only 4 of the buttons are super loud. These shoulders and start and select. Ergonomics, like I said, are really good. These little grippies on the side and the back, I think, help a lot. It comes with JELOS, which is kind of a dead end as far as custom firmware goes right now. They've closed up shop a little bit, so you're going to be stuck with what you see is what you get. I want to kind of get this out as soon as I can, so I'll do the update off camera, and I'll either add it to the video right now. Oh, well, that's anticlimactic. I guess this might be the last one we get. I'll let you know. I'll let you know different in the comments if I find out. Pretty decent little system for $100. I feel like at that $70, $80 when it first came out as pre-release, that was a really good deal. At $100, I'm not so sure, because you can get some pretty similar performance out of the TrimUI Smart Pro for around $50. So at $100, the things that are going to make this better than some of its closest competitors are a pretty decent custom firmware stock. Keep in mind you will have issues with JELOS probably not being available in the future. The ergonomics, really nice. It has kind of a sturdy feel. This plastic doesn't feel super cheap. It feels like, I don't know. It's just got a good feel to it. it's not going to get mucked up by your hands. It's kind of a matte, sturdy plastic. So you got a good feel to it, good ergonomics, and you got your HDMI on the top. So if you wanted to consoleize this, you could prop it up somewhere and maybe connect a Bluetooth controller, or prop it up and have it plugged right into your TV and consoleize this pretty easily. Real quick first impressions. I like it. I'm not 100% on it for $100. Maybe if it was 80 or 90, I'd be more, yeah, go buy it. But at $100, I don't know. Sometimes with these PowKiddies, I'm like, that's not great. And everyone else is like, no, I love PowKiddy. So it's really up to you. For me, it's a skosh too expensive at $100. So maybe if it'll go down in price in the future, you can get it. Or maybe crazy new custom firmware or something comes out with it. Keep an eye out for our more in-depth reviews on this. As new firmware comes out, we'll review it, and I'm going to have Stubbs do more of a deep dive on this one. Just stay tuned. If you like the video, like and subscribe, ring the bell, click the buttons, all that jazz. You know how it works. And stay tuned. We'll definitely be diving a little bit more into the PowKiddy RGB10Max3. Boy, that's a mouthful. We'll see you later. Goodbye.